Today we are going to talk about four immeasurables and bodhicitta. The essence of whole Mahayana path. Mahayana, I mean here, also Vajrayana. Vajrayana is part of Mahayana. First, here translated as the four unbounded attitude, unbounded attitudes, or four immeasurables. To begin with, what are they? They are immeasurable impartiality or equanimity, immeasurable love, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable sympathetic joy. That's it. Here, on the first stanza, Longchenpa begins with a beautiful poem which he used the landscape. Beautiful ground as the love, beautiful flowers everywhere on the ground as a compassion, beautiful trees casting the coolness under which you can also enjoy as a sympathetic joy. Beautiful ponds, lakes, and streams all over the landscape, which absolutely beautifies the land as the immeasurable equanimity. In Tibetan, this sounds absolutely soothing to your ears. Once you heard it, you want to hear more. When you listen again, more desire is generated to hear again, like that kind of poem. And then Longchenpa says, to this beautiful place may all beings dwell or awaken to, always be in that beautiful place. The place of love, compassion, joy, and immeasurable equanimity. Okay. Now from stanza 2 to 4, is the now teaching begins. What are the four immeasurables? Obviously, everybody has love, compassion, joy, and some impartialities. And a lot of people, wonderful beings, good human beings all have these. With these, they accumulate merit. And by the power of their merit, they are born like in Santa Barbara, or maybe in Santa Cruz. Beautiful human places as a human beings, or as a God in the God realms, form or formless realms. These four thoughts generate such good actions that result in these great happiness and peace. And yet, these merits are not supreme virtue. You remember? Supreme virtue, last time we talked about. They are great, but just a merit, virtuous actions, meritorious actions that lead to happiness, but not ultimate happiness, but not to liberations, not to enlightenment. Then question is, what do we need beside this? Now here, in order to make these four thoughts, immeasurable thoughts, what do we need? These four thoughts become immeasurables or unbounded attitudes because the object, not only one human beings, two human beings, not only to one's loved ones, but all living beings. As our loved ones wish for happiness, all sentient beings wish for happiness. As our loved ones do not wish to have any sufferings, they wish to be free of suffering, all sentient beings wish to be free of sufferings. They wish to have love. Be happy. In this regard, why do we stop here to our only loved ones? But let us expand this beautiful good thought, expand this to all beings. Here, all beings, we're not only talking about human beings. Usually we say the birds flying in the sky, marine lives swimming in the water, bugs crawling on the ground, all wish for happiness and wish to be free of sufferings. For that reason, let the objects of our four beautiful thoughts be immeasurable. As limitless as the sky, so our sentient beings are limitless. To that limitless sentient beings, let us generate compassion. Let us generate love, sympathetic joy. And this way, we are truly actualizing or realizing the immeasurable impartiality, or we are actualizing the immeasurable equanimity state of mind. So, in order to make immeasurable, the object is immeasurable, all beings. And then, next to is applied for most cases. Next to is that one ordinary wishes are maybe love or compassion, rather short-sighted, temporary free of temporary suffering, or wish them to have happiness or temporary happiness. Here, what makes immeasurable as immeasurable is that one wish these beings to be free of suffering and cause of sufferings. The ultimate compassions. One wish these beings not only human happiness, of course that's what we need as a human beings, or whatever animal realms, whatever happiness in their own realms consider as happiness, let them have their own. Wish them to have that happiness, but still our aspiration do not end here. Our aspiration is, may all sentient beings become fully awakened. That makes, again, immeasurable. And then, particularly Longchenpa here emphasize what makes these four immeasurable as the cause for liberations or enlightenment is these immeasurable, four immeasurable must be practiced with the understanding of empty in essence. Right? Empty in essence. So as we talked about last time, what makes supreme virtue as supreme virtue? Two things, bodhicitta and understanding of inherent nature, empty. So that's it. I think it's clear, right? Okay. Now stanza 5. This is important. Further clarifying what are the four immeasurables. How do we define? We define four immeasurable separately because the object, a specific object, the object of love is the happiness. Those who are not happy, those sentient beings who are not happy, we wish them to have happiness, right? That is love. Compassion. What is the object of compassion? Object of compassion is those sentient beings who are suffering or have lots of sorrows. So wishing these sentient beings to be free of suffering, right? That is compassion. And what's the object of sympathetic joy? These are somewhat important to know. No. Sympathetic joy is the joy of sentient beings, the happiness, the wealth, in wealth, whatever happiness, like really. If you walk downtown Santa Barbara, you will see how many people are having really good time. So they're really having good time, the joyful moments they are having is the object of sympathetic joy. Here you take joy in other people's joy. And then, what is the object of immeasurable impartiality, equanimity? Equanimity, impartiality here is then sentient beings' attachment and aversions. Sentient beings to their loved ones, attachment, to their not loved ones, distant ones, aversion or dislike. There are two things, right? to that immeasurable equanimity or impartiality must be generated. So now we have four objects of the four thoughts for immeasurables. Now let us from stanzas 6 to 9, now immeasurable impartiality. Okay. Here, order. A lot of the time we begin with love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. But when you actually practice, it must be practiced first, immeasurable equanimity. And that way, the rest become authentic. So, first and foremost, you have to pay this one a little bit more attention. And then the rest is rather simple. What is immeasurable? Impartiality. Here, aversion and attachment are the two things. We say, which means, may I realize the impartiality of, between these two. Sentient beings not knowing, let me begin with this actually, not knowing once there are two nature, sentient beings have this clinging mind, clinging to self, which do not exist at all. From this self-clinging, then there's object, right? To these objects, then two things happens. Objects that which sentient beings like, to which attach to, cling to, the object that which do not like, dislike, aversion, or even hatred. Two things. Now, this not knowing one's true nature and ego clinging mind as ignorance, attachment to the loved ones, close ones, so desire, and then the aversions. These three are known as three poisons in Buddhism. These three poisons are the really to hold the whole samsaric wheel of samsara to hold together. In the center of this wheel is these three, which holds everything, holds samsara together. If these three is broken or something happened, weaken to this, whole samsara start to fall apart. Whole samsara is shaken. So that's how samsara, perpetually rotates and will be rotating until one meditate on such like this for immeasurables. Okay. Now, from Buddhist point of view, now here Longchenpa's teaching is now you already learn about Buddhism, you already accept Buddhist teachings. We talk about karmas, we talk about life, infinite lives, already talk about. So, here's how one thing, in order to eliminate this attachment and aversions. Okay, this is the object. Two things. We have to awaken. We have to realize equanimity of these two. Here's the teachings. In our infinite lifetimes, to begin with our life as a Buddhist, what do we believe? The karmas, next life, past life, is a fundamental belief. This life came from past life. Past life came from where? From that previous life. From that previous life came from previous life. It goes back. So therefore in our prayer says, right, from from the beginningless lifetimes. So as a Buddhist, beginningless lifetimes. This life has no beginnings. Okay, that's the, you're here assuming that you accept their teachings. So, since beginningless lifetimes, every sentient beings in one time or another have been one's parents, one's mother, one's father, one's enemy, one's friend, have been like that. So we have to bring the broader perspective to this lifetime's small limited times perspective. In this limited time in our own life, then we have loved ones to whom one attached to, not loved ones to one who do not want, who one dislike them. So if you really think this dislike, this aversion, attachment, they are not reliable at all, says here. Our loved ones can become rather dislike, even object of aversions. To whom one do not like, right now one may have aversion, but they become most loving one in this life. Even in this life, not sure. So in this regard, why you want to, so much attachment is there, so much aversion should be there regarding to even these lifetimes. Now when you think about bigger pictures from the infinite lifetimes, these very loving ones, your loving ones, may have been enemies in the past who created lots of sufferings. This very enemy that one do not like have been our parents, have been most beloved friends who created lots of good things for oneself. Really have been like that. So why should one really have so much attachment and aversion within only this short-sighted versions of, So this is very unrealistic. We have to think, try to become realistic, bringing this bigger perspective applied to this life, and know that aversion and attachment is such a temporary experience of sentient beings, that which play big deal holding sentient beings to the realm of sufferings. At the same time, these two and the ignorance are the illusions, not reliable at all. Actually, there's a there's a story, a bodhisattva called Katayana. And he said, Katayana, one day he saw a man eating meat and throwing rocks at a dog, and he's also holding a baby. That's how what Bodhisattva Katayana saw. When he see this with his clairvoyance, he sees that the man who is eating the meat, whatever meat that is, its previous life, the animal's previous life was this man's father. This man's father was born in this animal, and now this animal's meat, this man is eating. While the man is eating the meat, he has a dog. The dog is trying to get what he was eating. And in order to drive the dog away, he threw rocks at the dog. And Katayana's clairvoyance, he sees this dog's previous life was his mother. And then the man was lovingly carrying a baby in his lap. Katayana sees the previous life of this baby was this man's enemy. So Katayana says, what a laughable and so much object of compassion this whole samsara's show is. So like that, this really, as a Buddhist, one must have broadened this perspective, understanding. Life is not just this life. Infinite lives. Every sentient beings have their past life. Their past lives, infinite times. In these infinite lives, beginningless lifetimes, I have been your parents. You have been my parents, my friends, or enemies. All these things, all these one we have been. So why should I only thinking within this short period of time then so much aversions to reject, so much attachment to attach? All these things is temporary experience of sentient beings, which in fact, all sentient beings have been one's own parents. So for that reason, see, we say all motherly sentient beings. For some reason, mother took the place here, not father. All motherly sentient beings. Majur namkha tanjam bisemche tamji. It's one of the most commonly, prayers. All motherly sentient beings. So how all motherly sentient beings? In order to understand all motherly sentient beings, one must have to look at the bigger pictures of these lifetimes. And then look at all sentient beings as one's own mother, regardless how they act right now. Even one's dislike object, dislike beings have been one's own mother. When he or she was one's own mother, must have been very great things, did so great things. So why should I, in this short period of time, something I dislike, then go against, generate aversion? That is not good. So these aversions, these attachments is an illusory things that one generate. So one must equalize this. No aversions, no attachments. That is the equanimity, impartiality. Impartiality, right? Not attach here, no hate here, aversion here. All is the same. Realize this. So, one profound way of understanding of impartiality is that without profoundly understanding this, accepting this, the rest, compassion, loving kindness, and sympathetic joy is difficult to take place genuinely. So it is important to meditate on this, Longchenpa says. So meditating on this, Longchenpa says, first think as much as you can, think many beings in front of you. And then, particularly if one have somebody who one do not like, think that person right in front, So, to that object of many sentient beings, now think. These sentient beings, one time or another lifetime, these previous lifetimes or previous lifetimes, have been one's own mother, one's own father. This very enemy that if one really dislike, might have been one's own mother. In which time she did great things, she raised me. So in this regard, why should I generate aversion to this man or to this to him or her? Why should I generate these aversions? At the same time, why should I attach to this? This could have been also, very much something who not necessarily good in one's past lives. Not sure at all. Like Bodhisattva Katayana, seeing the man's holding this baby as very cherished one, his past lives, enemies, like that. So, think sentient beings in front, and think again and again. These aversions and attachment one have to beings are not realistic. Equalize this. And think that way until one truly have the attitude or the thought of impartialities. No particular beings one to whom one truly attached, no particular beings one truly have aversions, until one feels same to all sentient beings, wanting that. One meditate on it, one reflect on this. The object is all beings, many, many beings, include, all kinds of beings, and then equalizing. Okay, and then next kind of again same meditation is that now think one sentient beings, Longchenpa says, that can be your loved ones first. This is quite common in other texts. One's loved one is one's mother. Actually, let me tell you a story. Well, a long time ago, here in Santa Barbara, I had a friend. He told me some story that's very interesting. He said that first to begin with, when he was young, his mother left him with his father, and in his lifetimes he really, has some dislike to his mom. Quite strongly, I guess. And then he said, somewhere in San Francisco, when he was in San Francisco, he heard that a Lama was teaching. And then he's half Japanese, so his some Buddhist culture is already there. So he really wanted to go and see what Lama is talking about. And then he went to receive the teachings. When he went to the teachings, the Lama, he said he could not really know what the Lama was talking about, but all he got is that Lama was talking about thinking or reflecting all sentient beings as a mother. And for him, that wasn't a good teachings at all. If he started to think about all sentient beings as a mother, it's a troublesome. So that's what I've been taught. And later on, I also read some other books saying some lamas say that in order to generate compassion, if you do not love your mom, and generate on something that you love, maybe your dog or cat or your friends or some other than your mom. But that's great. In order to begin with, probably you may have to use that if you have such situation with your mom. Otherwise, as far as Buddhist practice, as far as Mahayana practice is concerned, no one left behind, right? No one left behind. If your mother is left behind, then there is no path. There's no path for you. Doesn't really matter how mother may treat you in this, but after all, she carried for 9 months, everything. Basically, at the end of the day, bodhicitta practice, for immeasurable practice, include all sentient beings. That's very important. So anyway, here Longchenpa says, first visualize one whom one love. In other texts, it will be mother. And then one compare oneself to one's loved ones. I wish for happiness, to no one to have any suffering. So is my loved ones wish for happiness and do not want sufferings. And then put more objects there. All one's relatives. Again compare one wish for happiness, do not wish to have suffering. Same. All one's loved ones and oneself same, no difference. And think about as much as one can think, all human beings, as one wish for happiness, all sentient beings, human beings wish for happiness. As one do not wish for suffering, all sentient beings, human beings do not wish for suffering. And then visualize as far as one can, all sentient beings, all same. And that way, one try to generate this genuine sense of equanimity, impartiality, right? And then, here's the meditations, aspiration you make. When you look at these all motherly sentient beings, all wish for happiness and wish to be free of suffering. At the same time, all these beings have aversions. All these beings have attachments. Between these two, they wander in samsara. They have been wandering in samsara. They will be wandering in samsara. At the meantime, there's so much sufferings there because of these two. And then the ignorance, of course. So what do you have to do? Not only in your practice, you try to equalize, try to bring to impartiality or equanimity of your own attachment aversion, but then here wish, may you all sentient beings, whatever you can think, you think those sentient beings in front and make the wish. May all beings be free from aversions. May you all be free of attachments and desires. Because after all, these are the reasons that sentient beings wander in samsara. So make a genuine wish for all sentient beings. Pray. May all sentient beings realize this. And may all sentient beings come to understand and equalize. No more aversion, no more attachments. And then go a step more further. Ultimate equanimity, ultimate, impartiality is when sentient beings become fully awakened, right? Until then, even though may have less aversion, less attachment, but there's some form of attachment and aversion always continues. So ultimately, may all sentient beings become fully awakened, in which the real equanimity is actualized. So that's aspiration one make. And then Longchenpa says here, the non-referential equanimity. Here then, now think, this very mind wishing all sentient beings to attain the equanimity of these, aversion and attachments, awaken to the, equanimity state of these two, whatever one's wishing, this very thought, this very thinking, what is it? Where is this thinking? Where is this wishing, wishful mind? Where is it? When you look at it, this mind is empty from the beginning. There's no thing that you can pinpoint. This is the mind that is wishing. Realize the very wishful mind is empty at the same time. And then you rest in this empty essence. The essence of your mind, you rest. And then coming out from there, dedicate the merit. So this is the practice. Okay. Okay. Now rest is quite easy. immeasurable love from stanza 11 to 12, very much. Now, one's state of mind is much reduced, aversion and attachment. One sense, one really understand from the deeper level, aversions and attachments are the illusory nature, illusions of mind. So here, the object of love is, to have happiness, right? Sentient beings have happiness. So here, one can think of first one's loved ones there, and then wish whatever you wish for, may you have happiness. In most cases, think your mom, may you have happiness. And then make a bigger, more relatives, and bigger. All sentient beings, may all sentient beings have happiness. May all sentient beings have happiness, whatever happiness that they are in need of right now at this moment. Good health, prosperity, wealth, longevity, whatever wish they wish to have happiness, may you all have this. Try to genuinely feel this, because here, as a Mahayana Buddhist practitioners, one believe that these very beings have been one's own mother in his or her past lives. So here one feel genuinely very close to these beings. So this is very important. May all motherly sentient beings, when we say motherly sentient beings, there's the moment we say motherly sentient beings, there's a sense of closeness, there's a sense of genuineness, right? Assuming that we all love our moms, we all love our moms. We all remember mom's kindness, genuinely. So thinking all sentient beings, your own mother, is a big deal, big deal. So, may you have happiness. May all sentient beings have happiness. It's the love. And then what is ultimate happiness? Even though one's loved ones have happiness of temporary wealth and all these things, these are temporary, right? So may all sentient beings be fully awakened. The ultimate happiness is the awakening mind, enlightenment, visual this. And then conclude the practice with, again, non-referential love. Whatever one's wishing, the wisher, the action wishing, the object whom one wish, in fact, are empty in essence. So one abide in this. We say kosun number mitopa. No object, no action, no subject doer. Just abide in this empty essence. And then dedicate the merit. Quite easy. And then compassions. It stands at 13 through 14. Again, think about your mom in front. May you be free of sufferings. Genuinely wish. Think all beings. Lots of beings are suffering. So may you be free of sufferings. May you all be free of sufferings. May I be able to walk, actually do something to free all sentient beings, from sufferings. And this genuine wish must be generated. And then, of course, ultimately, to be free from suffering and cause of suffering is enlightenment. Wish that too. Wish that. The aspirations. And then again, concept beyond conceptions. Actually, suffering in nature is empty. Sentient beings are empty. Oneself is empty. So abide in this empty essence and dedicate the merit. And then joy. Stanza 16 through 17. The object of joy is then whoever is having a great times. And think these people in front. And that's exactly they wish for. They wish for happiness. They have this happiness. They wish for this wealth. They have this wealth. They have this prosperity. They have this prosperity. That's what they wish. As they wish, they have it. They are having a great time. So as a practitioner, one wish that may all sentient beings, have happiness, right? They are having great joy here. So in this regard, one not only kind of generate jealousy toward these having a great time beings, but empathetic joy. Be happy with them, for them. Be happy. Be happy. Be happy. So, this is a big thing because usually people have some kind of jealousy which bothers them. So here, Bodhisattva's discipline is that when they see the enjoyment, great happiness, they also feel joy. This is the amazing, again, wonderful cause for happiness. Think about this. It's very, very profound. One here, or such a wonderful winning, or such wonderful success, such wonderful things happens. Feel joy about it, instead of such jealousy is something that actually hidden, that quite difficult to understand. Jealousies, most people deny that, but there's a jealousy here. So here, try to genuinely feel happy about it, that they enjoy. Empathetic joy must be generated. And then, of course, ultimate joy is when sentient beings attain enlightenment. So we wish all sentient beings to become fully awakened. And then again, non-referential joy, that's this very joy one feel is also empty in essence. So here, knowing that in empty state of mind, one abide and then dedicate the merit. So these are the four thoughts which are very, very important. One usually think of. These will play a very important role to make your mind absolutely peaceful. Very important. And now, Longchenpa here, something very important. It stanza 18 and 19. Now here says that when we practice this, when we practice the immeasurable impartiality again and again, our mind is kind of tricky. So this mind may become like indifferences, doesn't really matter, whatever kind of thing. So if that happens, the antidote for this is then do the next one first. love, immeasurable love. That will antidote to this. And then practicing love, at certain point, again, our mind is a little bit even kind of attachment to sentient beings. If that happens, then go to the next, compassions. That will, again, antidote, hold to that kind of grasping on sentient beings. And visualize, meditating on compassions for a while, thinking about suffering, may somehow feel a little bit down. So if that happens, do the sympathetic joy. So these four, right, in order or in a different order, and move back and forth, but each will play its antidote, So anyway, the more one reflect, better, one be able to generate this beautiful mind, immeasurable minds. But it's important to kind of rotate these four thoughts. There's something very profound instruction here. And then stanza 20 to 21. What result will be from these four thoughts? These four thoughts, so result is, as we talked about last time, first ripening result. Ripening result will be, of course, by doing these four thoughts, immeasurable four thoughts, one be born first, come back to a beautiful human life, being born in the God realms, and ultimately, of course, liberations, full awakening is the result of these four thoughts, four immeasurables. And then second result similar to cause, right? Result similar to cause. Result similar to cause is action similar to cause, experience similar to cause, right? Action similar to cause will be in our next lifetimes, the next baby born, we just like to hear about compassion, loving kindness, just naturally. You see, newborn babies have their own attitudes, right? Nobody taught where this came from past lives. So action similar to cause, this kind of continues. And then experience similar to cause, what would be that? By the merit of love, in next lifetime, everybody will love you. By the practice of compassion, everybody wish you to be free of suffering. By the merit of reflecting, meditating on sympathetic joy, everybody will be happy with you. By the merit of meditating on impartiality, everybody will be treating you, impartially. Nice treat. And then conditioning result. Conditioning result is then where you will be born. By the virtue of loving kindness practice, you will be born in an environment. People are very loving. Environment. By the virtue of meditating on compassion, you'll be born in a place where there's no harms. By the virtue of meditating on joyful, in a sympathetic joy, you'll be born in a place where there are lots of beautiful flowers and medicine plants growing, says. By the virtue of meditating on impartiality, you will be born in a place where everybody dwell in harmony. Nobody is arguing. And then proliferating effect is simply in the next lifetime, you will have a tendency to think about compassion, to think about love, to do more about it. So these are the result. And then furthermore, it talks about by the four immeasurable practice, one will attain four kayas: Dhammakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, and Swabhavikakaya, as well as five wisdoms will be attained. So, in short, these four thoughts are the four thoughts all the Buddhas of the past generated, and present Buddhas have generated, future Buddhas will be generating. So, this is it. In the practice, when we say skillful means wisdom, what do you mean? That word always goes not only in Sutra but Tantra. Skillful means wisdom. Skillful means we are talking about compassionate aspect of mind, loving mind, wisdom. These two are the causes that which awaken to two kayas, Rupa Kaya and wisdom kayas. So all this came from these two. Long story short, this is it. Four thoughts. Really, four immeasurable thoughts. Think about this at all times. This will really make your mind open to begin with. Have a bigger perspective. Life is not just this much. No. Let us not keep our mind also cocoon-like mind, very limited. Make this mind broader, open, spacious. When one's mind becomes spacious, there's a lot of rooms to things happen. Itty-bitty things do not really disturb at all. One be able to remain unperturbed by all external circumstances, because our mind is bigger, broader, wider, open than just a small things. Ultimately, this is rather Dzogchen practice. It is said that if you throw a stone in the sky, it doesn't really matter to the sky. So like that kind of state of mind to attain, somehow have to begin from here. That beginning is like these four thoughts. Think about this. The genuine happiness, genuine peace within, how this happens? Just because of these four thoughts. And one's mind is at ease, open and peaceful, very open. Life is a great thing, so beautiful. Everything is beautiful. Life is meaningful. So here, may all motherly sentient beings actualize this immeasurable equanimity or impartiality. May all sentient beings, have happiness. May all sentient beings be free from sufferings. May all sentient beings never be separated from the wonderful time they are having, from the joy. May all sentient beings never be separated from this. If you say this, if you think this daily, that's it. So please keep these four immeasurable always in our hearts. Always think about this, always practice. That way we keep our mind in a state of peace at all times. Okay, now next. Uh, 85, page 85 looks like, page 85. Cultivating the attitudes of mind oriented toward enlightenment. This is bodhicitta. Chapter on bodhicitta. Here, bodhi means enlightenment, citta means heart, heart of enlightenment, which is the seat of everything, basically. Enlightenment comes from this seat. What is that seat? That is bodhicitta. That's it. And then here stanza 1 to 6. Longchenpa begins the benefit of bodhicitta. Basically, bodhicitta will liberate from all sufferings. Bodhicitta will make beings attain enlightenment. Bodhicitta is like elixirs which transform everything. Bodhicitta will transform minds. Bodhicitta will transform whoever have bodhicitta will become bodhisattvas. Bodhicitta will change their name, even bodhisattvas. All karmas, the source of sufferings, karmas and defilements, all will be exhausted by bodhicittas. Anyway, infinite benefit. If there's an example, if the bodhicitta is like wish-fulfilling jewel, which fulfill all wishes. In other Mahayana sutras, there are 22 kind of examples. Bodhicitta is like a goal. Bodhicitta is like a earth, ground, whole. Bodhicitta is like a moon. Bodhicitta is like a wish-fulfilling trees, and all this and that. So anyway, these are the benefits, infinite. And now stanza 7 through 13. What is bodhicitta then? Two kinds of bodhicittas. First, understand. Absolute bodhicitta and relative bodhicittas. What is absolute bodhicitta? Absolute bodhicitta is simply realization of emptiness. That's absolute bodhicitta, which is, in this regard, result of relative bodhicitta. So here, what we are talking about, emphasize, is the relative bodhicitta. Relative bodhicitta has two. Here translated as bodhicitta in an intention and active bodhicitta. But rather for me, it's easier to say bodhicitta of intention and bodhicitta of applications. Right? That's that. Two bodhicittas. What are they? Obviously, as it says intention, this is like a four thoughts. I mean, four immeasurable, these four immeasurables. Immeasurable compassion, love, equanimity, joy, all bodhicitta and aspirations. And then bodhicitta, basically aspiration, right? Aspirations, first and most important. Wishing, actions not yet. First wishing. And then application bodhicitta is obviously applying that bodhicitta. Now last time we talked about, Longchenpa said, all our virtuous actions should have three noble principles. First, bodhicitta, right? Bodhicitta, driven by bodhicitta. All our actions driven by bodhicitta. So, that bodhicitta of aspirations result in bodhicitta of applications. That is like thinking to go, thinking is the intention, going is bodhicitta of application, actually walking. Quite easy to understand. So there are two. Here, again, I want to say, Ngari Penshe Pema Wangjal was one great master who wrote Domsum Namnge three vows, Partimoksha vow, Mahayana vow, Bodhisattva vow, and then tantric vows. He said, Membil Cherab Onchu, Lonchen Rabjam, Membil Rabja Semi Jikoshin, Jupi Rabja Parochin, which means, according to great Longchenpa, bodhicitta of intention is the practice of four immeasurables. Bodhicitta of application is six perfections, six paramitas, according to Longchenpa. So this is what actually here Longchenpa says that. Okay. Stanza 14 through 34 is generating the bodhicitta. Generating bodhicitta now. Okay, first, before we go there, in order to generate bodhicitta, important thing is to know what is then bodhicitta of intentions. What is that intentions? That intention is bodhi as enlightenment, chitta as mind of enlightenment. What is that? That is wishing all sentient beings to become fully awakened, right? As I said before. Basically that. Oneself to become fully awakened. All sentient beings to become fully awakened. Because until fully awakened, one can wish that certain beings to be free of that suffering, that particular suffering, but suffering again continues. One can wish to have that particular happiness to these particular beings, but that's again not enough. Next is needed. So, become fully awakened. Isn't there a genuine wish from these four immeasurables practices? One be able to generate this genuine aspiration as a result of four immeasurable practice. Genuine aspiration for all sentient beings to become fully awakened. That is the bodhicitta of intentions. Okay. Now, in order to generate this, in order to take the bodhisattva vows, how one do this? So here, Longchenpa says, first you can do it in front of an actual master who have generated, who embodies this bodhicitta. You can do in front of him or her. If not, then you put offerings there in front of a Buddha or Bodhisattva image. Basically, you make an altar. Beautiful altar you put up there. And then visualize in front of you all the Buddhas, Bodhisattva who have generated this, who embodies this bodhicitta, one visualize. And then what you do, in our bodhisattva vow ceremony we do, that's exactly what's happening. And then in the presence of Buddha's Bodhisattva, then we do what? 7 branch prayers. Right? That is important. Longchenpa says here, it is like washing a, if the sheet is dirty, you cannot see all the patterns, the beauty of the sheet. So if you wash it and dry it nicely, the sheet's colors, the patterns will become fully, visible. Like that, if sentient being's mind is not cleansed, accumulation of merit and purification is not there, it is difficult to arise this bodhicitta. So therefore, in order to accumulate merit and purification, 7 branch prayers. 7 branch prayer, I always talk about this. In our practice, Chinese practice, Tara practice, all other practice, always 7 branch prayers. Not only our practice, all Mahayana practice, even Hinayana, Theravada practice is also 7 branch practice is always there if you pay close attention. It's a very, very important practice. What are they? Paying homage, doing prostrations in the presence of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, making offerings, And then now here, Longchenpa, we don't have time to go through this. Actual arranged offerings, offering in imagination, within offering in imagination, different categories of offerings. And then confessions, whatever negative deeds from the beginningless lifetimes, in this lifetime, all confess. That way one's being become pure and one become perfect vessels for receiving bodhisattva vow or generating bodhicitta. And then request to turn the first and then rejoice in all the merits of the infinite Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, masters, to whom one respect. Rejoice in their merit, right? What a beautiful practice, really. When one truly, genuinely rejoices, then there's no way, nobody can stop you, but you will also, accumulate merit, rejoicing. And then requesting not to turn, into nirvana, but always remain, which means, one will always have the, blessings of the bodhisattvas and Buddhas non-stop. And request to turn the wheel of Dharma. That way, one's mind always somehow become Dharma, according to Dharma. Does it make sense? Sometimes just naturally happens. Naturally, this virtuous thought arises. Sometimes almost like, wow, today I had such a virtuous thought. All I thought is compassion, loving kindness, I didn't think about at all other things but compassion, love. from this merit, this happens. And then dedication of merit for the awakening of all sentient beings. So, these are the 7 branch practices. Longchenpa details out here. It's important to pay attention. Because in order to generate genuine bodhicitta, kind of making the ground fertile, so to speak, this is important, very, very important. Okay, and then stanza 32 through 34 is now actual generation of bodhicitta. Okay. Actual generation of bodhicitta. First, one request once more attention. In our Bodhisattva vow ceremony, we have this, right? All the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and masters, please hear me. And then in front of them, first take refuge in 3 jewels. And then recite the actual taking vows, generating bodhicitta. So here, according to this Longchenpa, actually the same thing that we have here, but let me read this. Now, in the presence of Buddhas and Bodhisattva, this is how one take Bodhisattva vow or generate bodhicitta. Oh, protectors, actually page 92, stanza 32. Oh, protector, you and all your offsprings, think of me. Just as all the Buddhas of the past, together with their heirs, have brought forth the awakened mind, and in the precepts of the Bodhisattvas lived and trained. Likewise, for the benefit of beings, I will bring to birth the awakened mind, and in those precepts I will live and train myself. I will carry over those who have not fully crossed, and liberate all those who are not free. I will bring relief to those not yet relieved. All beings will I place in Buddhahood. Basically, as all Buddhas of the past, Bodhisattvas past have generated and generated. As they live, train in Bodhisattva's precepts, I will live in those principles, Bodhisattva's principles. Basically, liberating all sentient beings. So, this beautiful, vast, profound, precious thoughts, precious motivations. We say that as a human being, this is the highest aspirations. There's no higher aspiration than this. This is the highest aspiration that as a human beings we can ever generate. Highest aspirations. Complete determinations to work for the awakening of all sentient beings. To those Bodhisattva principles. So here, Longchenpa says, say this 3 times. First time, you generate the bodhicitta of application, intentions. Second, you generate bodhicitta of applications. Third, you make them firm and establish well. So you repeat this 3 times. you generated bodhicitta. You receive bodhisattva's vows. And these kind of practice is not only occasional practice, try to do as much as one can. It's very important. And then rejoice. The next thing is now rejoice in one's merit. As in our practice also says, like a finding a precious jewel in a heap of refuse or basically garbage. One find a precious jewel like that. Now, in these lifetimes, one find bodhicitta in one's heart, the seat of enlightenment. From here on, the path to enlightenment begins. So long one keep this bodhicitta, one never going to divert from the path to ultimate enlightenment. This is it. All the teaching comes here. All the practice comes here. Nothing more or less. Bodhicitta. Always in one's heart. So, one be able to generate this in this lifetime, one should be rejoice, be happy, absolutely happy. What else is there really more precious than this? Okay, now, okay, we have time, no problem. Most important things is here. Stanza 35 to the rest. Everything is bodhisattva's principles to which one follow. Or bodhisattva's precepts, sometimes these perception principles, interchangeably we use. Generating bodhicitta is great. Bodhicitta intention is great. But most importantly, again, this, bodhicitta application, live our life in the principles of bodhisattva's path. This is very important. So here, Longchenpa emphasize this. So, as in our prayer says, bodhicitta is precious. May those who have not engender it, engender it. May those who have, engender it, not destroy it, may it ever grow and flourish. So this is aspiration, really, aspiration that we always keep in our heart. And always keep once one bodhicitta is generated, once receive bodhisattva vows, always keep this vow pure. Not only keeping vow pure, but grow from there. Engage in bodhisattva's principles, bodhisattva's precepts, and grow, accumulate merit. Based on bodhicitta, right? Here I always talking about bodhicitta is the kind of ground on which all virtuous takes place. Bodhicitta is the source from which all virtuous actions, meritorious actions emerge. So, bodhicitta as the foundation, as the source. Okay, now, before we go further, let me first tell you this. We say, Niju Dombi Tsutim, Gyawa Chuduji Tsutim, Semche Tunjeji Tsutim, which means threefold threefold disciplines of bodhisattvas. Yes. That is, first is, discipline of restraining from all evil actions. Basically, abstaining from all evil actions. That's one principle. Gyawa Chuduchi means the disciplines gathering all virtues. Semchen Tuenjeji Tsutim, which means the disciplines with which one bring benefit to all motherly sentient beings. So the first, the disciplines, abstaining from all non-virtuous actions. So here, as a bodhisattvas, of course, how can one harm others? Right? Even a single bad word is not uttered. Absolutely abstaining from all negative actions. Whatever, 10 non-virtuous, all these things absolutely applied here. And then in additions, particularly for bodhisattvas, there are 20 downfalls. Okay. 20 downfalls, stanza 37. Stanza 37 is 20 downfalls. These are 5 things that can happen to a king, 5 downfalls that can happen to a minister, 8 downfalls that can happen to a common people. So we don't have time to go through each of these. Here in this book, in the note, last page 277, there here all the listed out. That has to do with particularly for bodhisattvas, mostly particular, Okay. And then we have other precepts, particularly for bodhicitta of intentions. Bodhicitta of intention, particular precepts here, Longchenpa talks about 4 black actions and 4 white actions that which he, in this stanza clear out. Page 94. Yeah. What are the 4 black, precepts that one must stay away from in order to preserve the bodhicitta of intentions? That are on stanza 38. First, to deceive those worthy of respect. Second, to cause regret for what is not to be regretted. Third, to speak to holy beings with surly and unpleasant words. Fourth, and to play others false with cunning and duplicity. And then 4 white things to be adopted are, on stanza 39, to follow holy beings and extol their qualities. Second, inciting others to authentic virtue. 3, to take the bodhisattvas as true Buddhas and with a noble and superior attitude. Fourth, to bring about the happiness and benefit of beings. So these are the particular precepts. And then stanza 40. This is for bodhicitta of applications. Here, very interesting, maybe for you. We talk about 10 non-virtuous actions, right? 3 for body, 4 for speech, 3 for mind, 10 non-virtuous actions. Here, bodhisattva, for the benefit of sentient beings, purely for the benefit of sentient beings, not a slightest sense of selfishness. They even do seemingly negative actions, body and speech, for the benefit of sentient beings. They are willing to take their negativity on them so that other beings do not have to take the negativities. Such a, bodhisattva's aspirations and actions, incredible. But these are, with body, killing, stealing, anyway, body 3, speech, telling lie, gossips, slandering, and harsh words. These 7 things. So, purely from bodhicitta's aspirations, bodhisattvas willing to commit such solely for the benefit of sentient beings. So this is something to think about. Okay. The idea is bodhisattvas can do anything for the benefit of sentient beings. There's not a slightest sense of selfishness. All purely for the benefit of sentient beings, even for their at the cost, at the expense of their own sufferings. They're willing to, do anything for the benefit of sentient beings. That's the whole teachings. Okay. And then stanza 41. There are 3 kinds of bodhicitta. One is king-like. King-like is, may I become fully awakened for the benefit of all sentient beings. Like king first become king, and then why he want to become king? To bring benefit to others. And then both like bodhicitta, all together may we all beings, including ones, all become fully awakened at the same time. And then shepherd like bodhicitta is that first and foremost, go ahead, you sentient beings. Here only myself, one individual, here infinite sentient beings. You infinite sentient beings are more important than myself. So, working solely for the awakening of all sentient beings first, such is called shepherd-like. The shepherd first take care of the animals, and then later he enjoys, I guess. So, that kind of incredible aspirations. Okay, now stanza 42. From here, 6 paramitas, disciplines of bodhicitta of application, right? And here, as I talk about disciplines of gathering virtue or disciplines of benefiting other beings, these 6 paramita are both all of these. Stanza 42. Six paramitas or 6 perfections. These are very important. Please, please know this. Count these things. First, it's important to count this and think about these things. 6 perfection. Why is perfection? Because first, bodhicitta, embraced by bodhicitta. That's why perfection is. Second, why is perfection? Because it also involves understanding of empty essence of all. Empty essence may be, or here, perfection of generosity, discipline, patience, tolerance, samadhi, meditation, and wisdom. Okay. It's all a bodhisattva's principles, bodhisattva disciplines. Now, perfection of generosity. What does that mean? Practice of generosity. Generosity, of course, first begin with, we have, material generosity, giving materials, giving protection generosity, giving dharma generosity, giving material. Here, sometimes we say, oh, I'm practicing Mahayana, bodhicitta, but actually what one can do, if one do not do, that is again wrong. Whatever one can do, if there's within the limit of one's own capacity, one must do it. Usually, of course, I saw many cases that we can do, but we're not doing it. So here, practice of generosity as a material, whatever. When one drive, if one see a homeless person, he or she really in need, right next to our handset, there's some few changes. It doesn't really matter if one give it, one be able to do it, but if one do not do it, that again is not nice. So whatever we can do, with a good heart, bodhicitta aspirations, as much as one can to practice. And there are things like suffering things that beyond our reach, beyond our capacity at all, beyond our capacity. So in this regard, pray, make aspirations at all times. So perfection of generosity, and then giving dharma goes. Now stanza 44, perfections of disciplines. Perfections of disciplines is basically, here I just have to mention this. Generosity is sense of generosity. One must generate a genuine sense of generosity, giving, open our heart. Here, discipline-wise, perfection of discipline is avoiding from all that's negative, action that which harm others. That's a perfection of disciplines. This is the foundation. Discipline is the foundations. Again, training in Buddhist ethics, right? Training in Buddhist ethics, training in Buddhist meditation, training in Buddhist, wisdom, These are the three foundations. These are the three trainings, but among these, Buddhist ethics is the most important. Ethics. Ethics here disciplines, perfection disciplines. That is then, anything that's harmful to others, absolutely abstaining. And here we talk about vows. We have these vows. 7 pratimoksha vows. Actually, if you count Yungne vow, then 8 become 8. Vows are upasika vows, upasaka, male and female basically. Stay away from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, telling lie, and alcohol. Upasaka, upasika, and then Vikshu, Vikshuni, Shamanerin, Shamanerika, and then noble, female noble vows they keep for a while to prepare for the full ordination. There's such thing. So anyway, we don't have time to explain this in detail, but anyway, there are 7, foundation vows. This all has to do with disciplines, abstaining from all that is negative, right? So anyway, there are these seven vows to keep, and then basically, with the practice of bodhicitta, if one, with the intention or how do I say, with the generation of bodhicitta, based on bodhicitta aspiration, if one keep these vows, then these vows becomes fundamental cause for enlightenment. That's one would say. Okay, stanza 45. It is the practice of patience. Here, tolerance is just sometimes translated. Basically, isn't there ability to maintain, not disturbed by others, patience, right? That is then immediate kind of someone when you find who shakes your comfort zones, remain unperturbed. And then patience, talk about is then when one study and practice Dharma. Practice Dharma, one, have patience, not to be easily giving up, things, right? And then patience, to understand the ultimate nature. These are the different patience. Patience for temporary kind of, disturbance, patience for practicing Dharma, studying, and patience of, handling the, teaching on impermanence and emptiness, like that kind of patience. And then stanza 52, diligence. Diligence, what is the essence of diligence? Essence of diligence is joy for practicing Dharma. So what is the opposite which prevents this? Are the laziness. Three laziness we talk about, right? General laziness, as we know. Other laziness is that one engage in the ordinary activities that prevents us from doing Dharma practice. And other laziness is self-contempt, thinking that, oh, I cannot do. Bodhicitta is such a big thing. I cannot do. So these are the laziness. And then this, we talk about four fours, not here, but other texts. Anyway, diligence, I won't go in detail. These are the diligence. Most important. Patience is most important as a Dharma practitioners. If one hears such things, one cannot tolerate that, immediately jump off and say bad things. And that is not a Dharma practitioner at all. How can one be Dharma practitioner if that much you cannot handle, you cannot forgive, you cannot bear, right? Always to think about. And diligence. Diligence is most important. Why we have received we know lots of Dharma, lots of things in our hands. Why we are not using it? Because we don't have diligence. So here, importance is diligence. Generate this genuine, interest in the practice of Dharma. And with that, think about this whole three laziness, overcome this three laziness, and then as much as engage with bodhicitta, right? Engage in Dharma practice, diligence. And then stanza, I'll go fast. Stanza 56 is a meditation, perfection of meditations. Meditation simply means non-distracted concentration in this case. Here Longchenpa says there are three kinds of concentrations. First is rather calming, just calm. That is, ordinary kind of concentrations. Other concentrations, concentration calm with discriminating awareness, discernment. That is when one on the path of liberation, that kind of meditation, concentration is needed. Concentration with wisdom, basically. And then Tejin shape is something, concentration of Tathagata, which is then from the first bhumi to the 10th bhumi, there are concentrations, much concentration with realizations, right? Like that. Okay, now stanza 66, perfection of wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is understanding the phenomena like impermanent, transient natures, illusory nature of everything, and the nature of phenomena, empty essence of phenomena. These are the wisdoms. How one generates wisdom? By hearing, studying, reflecting on the teachings of emptiness and phenomena, and meditating. That way one generates wisdom. Here in detailed teaching, Longchenpa detail out two truths. Ultimate truth, everything is empty essence. Relative truth, everything arising interdependently. While arising, view everything, as we talk about in finding rest in illusions, all as a dream-like, echo-like, mirage-like, view like that. So these are the wisdoms. And then 69, the conclusions of the 6 paramitas. Here, the most important thing is at all times, Longchenpa says, the doer, the actions, what we are doing, all in essence empty. That understanding is most important throughout these 6 paramita practices. When one practices like generosity, when one gives something, object whom one gives, action, the giver, in fact, you remind yourself, you understand that these 3, object, action, and subject, in reality, empty in essence. So, that way, driven by bodhicitta, all these actions will be what? Supreme virtues, which become inexhaustible. Other virtues, their real result, there's the end of it. Here, driven from bodhicitta, while doing the actions, embrace with non-referential understanding and dedicate the merit. Other Longchenpa teaching says, when these 3 are there, these all virtuous one accumulate, become inexhaustible. Inexhaustible in a sense that result will be there at all time, but once result is reaped, the virtue is not exhausted, become ever inexhaustible result, inexhaustible virtues, and which will continue until one become fully awakened. So this is the ways to go. So here, Longchenpa, for immeasurable, he emphasized non-referential, empty understanding and abiding in the empty nature of these thoughts, state of mind, empty essence. Practice of 6 perfections, bodhicitta of application, again talk about empty essence of the actions, bodhicitta applications. So these are very, very important. Again, please think about these 6 paramitas. Study this here in detail out, really so much detail. Please go back, read as much as you can. So I think that's it. Thank you, everyone. And in conclusion, I want to say that please go back and read, think about the teachings. There are a lot to unpack. These teachings will really make clear your path. So that whenever you practice, path will be clear. So go back and read as much as you can. I tried my best to explain in this limited time. So I hope this provides you such an introduction. And now go back and read. In that way, we are on the right track. Path should be clear. And I'm totally committed. I'm so enthusiastic, really. I thought to complete the whole thing, I prepare everything. So I realized finally, unless I do 4 hours at a time, 2 hours cannot finish. But I'm so excited. I want to really continue this. So as so long you have intention to listen, I will be interested. And these are the teaching that I practice, that I study all the time. So much things unpack here, yet to be. So I look forward in the future as well. Okay, thank you everyone. Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have time. Any questions on the chat box?
No, just a message. Yes, will you do Tukla? Thank you. Please keep teaching us. Please keep teaching us. Please keep teaching us.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now let us to the. Now let us first sit. Yeah. First sit for a few minutes. In this just few minutes, let us just briefly think about what we discuss. Now one make wish that all these four immeasurables and bodhicitta be actualized in one's mind.